Hey all, this is Andy. So it's like midnight, but I really didn't want to go to sleep without making this video. I know it sounds crazy, but like sometimes you gotta geek out sometimes. So wanted to talk about twist weight. So what's twist weight? It's basically the moment of inertia around this axis right here. So going down the racket. So how your racket resists twisting, right, from here. And so the way that, what that means is basically, if you take your perpendicular distance from any point that you have of the racket, like any point weights you have of the racket towards this axis right here, that's what your radius is going to be. So the way that you could do it is that you could basically you could discretize the system. So you could treat this racket, let's just look at the frame for a second. So you could treat the frame as a series of point masses, and the moment of inertia of a point mass around an axis is mr squared, where m is the weight of the mass and r is the radius to or it's the perpendicular distance from the mass to the axis, right? So if you think about this as you're basically summing up these point masses from all throughout the racket, the r is that distance between the mass and the center of the racket. And so if you're summing up all these moments of inertia of all these point masses, you basically take the limit as the size of the mass goes to 0, and that gives you what your continuous actual moment of inertia or your twist weight would be. So what does this mean? And I'm using this Yonex racket in particular because I find this quite intriguing. So it means that if you have really wide body rackets, they're gonna generally have higher twist weights because the radius, the distance from the center is gonna be bigger, right? Smaller body rackets generally have lower twist weights. But I mean, this is assuming the weight is the same and evenly distributed. Like a larger head size would have a bigger twist weight. So what a lot of the pros do, like for example, Novak, is that he actually uses a lower twist weight racket, but then he adds globs of weight at 3 and 9. So same with Stanislas Wawrinka, his V-Core 95D is lower twist weight, but he adds weight at 3 and 9 to bump up that twist weight, because if you look at 3 and 9, right, those are sort of the optimal places to add weight in order to bump up your twist weight. So now it's how it resists twisting, but there are obviously downsides. It makes the racket a little bit less maneuverable, and it makes it feel a little bit more clubby. So why have I been just holding this Yonex racket? I'm gonna bring, let me see. I'm gonna bring my Wilson as well, Blade 97, right? So notice how the blade is more rounded at the top, and the Yonex, you have that isometric head shape. And I think with the V-Core 95 was even pronounced even more, this isometric head shape. So what I was trying to do, right, is I was trying to increase the twist weight while still also maintaining that feeling of polarization. So polarization means that the weight is at the ends rather than more concentrated in the middle. So the cool thing about this Yonex is that, again, because this stretches out so much at the top, weight that you add here will have a more significant impact on twist weight than with other regularly shaped oval rackets. So I could have my cake and eat it too. So I could basically bump up the twist weight while still keeping the frame relatively polarized. So that's what I did. I'm gonna play test it tomorrow. And overall, I think it feels good. And I think for some reason I've been just thinking about this, like, why does it feel good to add weight on Yonex rackets around the 10 and 2 o'clock region, or the 1:30 and 10:30? And this just may be it. So, all right, that's me nerding out for a bit. I mean, while I'm here, I brought these, right? I brought this, and yeah, let's just go ahead and derive it. So I'm gonna draw my racket. Really crude drawing of the racket, right? Right, crude drawing of the racket. So that's my x-axis right here. And this distance is r, right? R is a variable. So r right here, this is sorry, it's flipped, but you guys can see. So r is the distance from a point on the racket towards that axis, and r is a function of x, right? So basically, all you're doing for all the points of the racket is your twist weight is going to be m. So assuming a point mass, right? M times, actually, m is going to be a function of x as well. So m of x times r of x squared. Sum that up from 0 to x naught, right? So hopefully it could flip, but you guys can get it. It's basically you're summing up twist weight is 0, from 0 to x naught of m of x, which is the mass at point x, and then r at point x, so r of x squared. And you're basically summing each point mass inertia all the way from the bottom to the top. And you could do that for, you do that for strings too, right? So that's why I need to look it up, but like, yeah, I mean, it should work out for the strings. So I'm not sure whether TW, Tennis Warehouse University, they put the strung twist weight or the unstrung. That's a good question. But I mean, it's the same principle. It's how much the moment of inertia around that central axis. All right. So yeah, just me nerding out for a bit. I will talk to you a little bit more about swing weight later on. But the main thing is, like, these are all things that are variables that affect how your racket performs. Swing weight, static weight, twist weight, recoil weight, and we should dive a little bit deeper each time. So I'm gonna let you know how the playtest goes tomorrow, and this is Andy from Tennis with Andy. Play smart and see results.